Lots to come then, but let's start with the big breaking news at the bottom of the Premier League. Sky Sports News understands Gary O'Neill has been sacked by Wolves, with confirmation expected soon. It brings to an end his 16-month tenure at Molineux. A positive season last campaign, of course, resulted in a 14th place finish, but this time around it has been a different story entirely. They're 19th in the table, just 2 wins from their first 16 games. They are 4 points from safety. Let's start with this then, with you, Asmir. Is there a sort of sense of inevitability about this after recent results and some of the scenes we've seen in recent games?
Yeah, I think it's news that we all expected, I would imagine, especially based on recent results, just a feeling. I think the atmosphere around the camp, we actually played Wolves about 10 days ago and it was really negative at that time. So a couple more losses obviously would have fueled that even more. And unfortunately, yeah, the inevitable news happened today.
We sort of heard a change of approach from Gary O'Neill in his interview as well yesterday. For the first time, he didn't hold back, did he? He was critical of his players. Once you do that, is the writing on the wall? Is there any way back?
Yeah, I think he knows the writing was on the wall. He knew that was a pressure game. It was against a team that in and amongst them in Ipswich and obviously had a win, and it was a big result for Ipswich. But you can see he's frustrated there, Gary O'Neill. Because every time you see Gaz, and I know Gaz, his interviews are really positive, but I think he probably thought it's coming to the end now. He knew that was like make or break that game, and that game. And it's a difficult one because I do feel sorry for him a bit because they've lost a lot of key players. They've lost 200 million of stars gone out the window, and he hasn't really been backed. And I know he's come out and said that before in his press. You can't lose someone like a Max Kilman and not bring a centre-half in to replace him. So he has lost a lot of key players, but the writing is on the wall. But he'll be back, Gary O'Neill. Yeah, he's lost his job at Wolves. He will get another job because he is a very good young manager.
You often hear with managers, they try and take the pressure and the heat off the players and they'll find other reasons to blame, and maybe behind closed doors they'll give them a good telling off, but not publicly. There was that change in tone from what he was saying yesterday, Asmir. I'm sure you've been in a dressing room, both of you, when a manager's maybe spoken publicly, and how does that tend to go down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a good way of putting that or spinning that. I think when it's such a negative environment, obviously the pressure takes its toll on the manager. I think Gary would have been aware of the circumstances around the game yesterday and the fact that they lost. I think he wanted to put his feelings across to everyone about actually what happened. So. It never goes down well. It's a negative situation for sure. And it's very much unlike Gaz. He always protects his players. I think he looks after them. As you rightly said, what happens behind closed doors might be a completely different situation. But I think overall, publicly, he would always back his players. So maybe he feels a little bit let down by some of the players and some of their actions, especially when he went into the details about the pressing and the set play positions. It did feel like the players had lost a little bit of faith in everything, and I think he was also trying to protect himself a little bit. So definitely a negative situation, and for him, very unfortunate.
Do you think he was let down, Clinton?
Yeah, I think his players didn't deliver, but more, I think, let down. Because, listen, you can't just blame the players because he sets them out tactically. They go across that white line. It's up to them to produce on the pitch. But it's up above. You've got to back him in the market. If you're going to make him lose so many players, you have to back him in the transfer market. They've got some superb players. I like Cunha. I think Cunha could go to the next level. I like even Ait-Nouri. I know yesterday he gets a second yellow card. So you can see they keep losing the players. There's something, I wouldn't say something not right there, but you saw it with Lamina against West Ham. You saw it Ait-Nouri. It might be the frustrations of losing football match and where Wolves are at the moment, but they have got some talented individuals. So yeah, it's a sad day for Gary O'Neill, and Wolves now have to find the right manager to go and solve the problem there.
Well, I will come to who they might go for next, but I mean, just reflecting a little bit more on the scenes we saw at full time yesterday, which were pretty ugly, frankly, weren't they? Rayan Ait-Nouri got a second yellow card for his involvement. He'll now miss their next match at Leicester. He had to be basically carried off by Craig Dawson, didn't he? Matheus Cunha could face an FA ban now after appearing to strike a member of Ipswich's security team on the back of the head. And of course it follows Jose Sarr arguing with fans at a game a few weeks back, and then the Mario Lamina altercation just a week ago, and he had the captaincy taken off him. All of this sort of points to a lack of discipline. Do you think this probably fed into the decision, Asmir?
I think it has. I think that's for sure. I think no one's immune to the negativity around the place. We're all human beings and you're going to feel that. The one thing you really can't legislate for is losing. I mean, Clinton knows when you're in a football club and a dressing room, whenever you lose, that's not something many people teach you about how to deal with those situations. And when you've invested a lot of time, you invest a lot of energy, it's your livelihood, you take it personal. So of course it's going to be difficult for everyone. And I think also one thing to consider, they've got a very young squad. as Clinton rightly said, lost a lot of quality, but also leadership. You know, captains were lost, people who were influential in that dressing room. The fact of the matter is they brought a lot of young players in who then, you know, find it even more difficult when you're losing. So the fact that they've got a young team, young dressing room, it all led to really not being able to handle the situation in the best way possible.
So looking from the outside in, if you're a potential replacement for Gary O'Neill, you see where the team is in the division, recent results, you see some of these issues of ill discipline, you see the conflict, if you like, between supporters and the hierarchy. Do you want this job? Is it an attractive job still?
Well, there's managers out there that haven't got jobs, and every manager wants to have a job, and jobs don't come around that often. So it is a good job. Wolves is a big football club. They have great fan base. It's a good club to go and play. They've got some good attacking players. If I looked at Wolves where they are at the start of the season, I would have never predicted Wolves then.
Well, interestingly, I was just having a quick look at the odds, which they've quickly compiled, the bookmakers, as to who might be the replacement. You've got the likes of David Moyes linked, Steve Cooper. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the current favourite, Clinton.
I did hear that. I did hear Ole. Ole, obviously, he's been out of work for a long time. We see what he did, obviously, at Man United. But, yeah, you can see the list there. Graham Potter, he's been out of a job. But there's lots of good managers available.
What do you think they need, Clinton?
David Moyes. I think they need Moyes. Moyes goes in there, he shakes up the place and he gets results. David Moyes has been in positions like that before, and I think he'll go in there and do a fantastic job. You can always say a new manager comes in and it's the style of football you want to play out from the back. Well, maybe you don't need that. Maybe you do need the old school David Moyes who's going to get results and has been a fantastic manager in the Premier League and needs to get Wolves out of trouble, because they need a manager now to go in and shake it up and get these players playing, because they are not bad players in there. But Asmir will tell you, when you're not winning football matches, you'll be low on confidence. And that's what the players look like now. And there's a lot of ill discipline within the club at the moment. And you need an experienced manager to go in there and sort it out. But it could be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he is the favourite. But I look at that list and probably say David Moyes is the standout candidate for me.
Graham Potter's been waiting for his chance to get back in, Asmir. Could this be it?
I would say unlikely. I think for him, I think when you leave Chelsea, I think he will look at, I think, clubs probably in a better situation, probably bigger clubs, maybe looking at different kind of ambitions. So I don't think this is probably the right job for him. Obviously, only he will know. I do think it probably suits a manager with experience. You know, I know most managers will be aware that when you go into a new job, it's never under the best circumstances. Otherwise, these jobs wouldn't become available. So I do think experience, especially in this kind of situation, with everything that's been going on, probably does sound like the way to go.
I mean, some of the games they've got coming up, it's some run. So they've got Leicester away, big game, obviously, two sides down towards the bottom next weekend. Then their fixtures over Christmas and beyond. Have a look at this. They go to they welcome Manchester United on Boxing Day. Then they've got Spurs away, then in-form Forest, then Newcastle and Chelsea back-to-back away. Then Arsenal come to town end of January before games against Villa and Liverpool.
If I'm the manager, I'd take the job on February the 17th. No, I'm only joking. They are tough football matches. That's why, and it has me, they are tough.
Clinton, but on the other hand, you've got nothing to lose.
Exactly that.
So you almost come in with a bit of a free hit. And in that fact, no one's going to expect anything. You're going to get the initial reaction from the players. The fans will hopefully get behind you. So there will be an element to that. You can look at it both ways.
No, you can, yeah. I was winding you up. Asmir's spot on, because, and you know, look at some of them games, you think, oh yeah, they could end up losing it. I don't think they can. Even though they're games and they're tough fixtures, you get a new manager, and at home it's a hard place to go, Molineux, usually to get results there. So I know they're tough fixtures, but there's no easy games in the Premier League, Jules. No easy games at all.